All right, guys. We're going to talk about the midterms because there's a lot of propaganda that is flying around at the moment and it is absolutely crazy. So, I want to start this video by telling you my allegiances. I am paid by nobody. My money I pay or I use to do this channel is completely off my own back. I have no major backer, no major financial institutions or anything like that. I am affiliated with no PAC or any group. The reason why I think this is important is because a lot of the people talking at the moment have allegiances to certain establishment figures, and I think we all start to need to declare our allegiances. So I have no major PAC, no major backers, no major funders. The only money I get is from money from Rumble, and that's bugger all. So my day job that I do, obviously I make money off that, and then that allows me to do this in the free time. So that's why I'm saying that. So the elections, let's break it down. Did the Republicans lose? No. So the people that sit there and claim that the Republicans lost, you're wrong. They did not lose. They have won the House. Even if the Democrats right now go through and win every single House, they would have a narrow margin, and it's not likely they're going to do it. Even if the GOP wins 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 2 even if they pick up half of the seats that are still in play, they're going to finish on about 220-ish. 223, 224-ish, 222. I'm suspecting it's probably going to be around the 222 to 224. So they haven't lost the House. They've won the House back, which is great, and we'll get to that obviously in the reasons in a bit. But the Senate they've got 49 out of 48 at the moment. They are winning the Senate. Now, obviously, there's still very much races to be called. Things can still change. But even if they lose the Senate, they've still won the House. So why are you hearing a lot about this, the GOP lost? The reason is because there's a lot of psyops and propaganda flying around at the moment coming from the establishment. If you start looking back at all these people that claim that the GOP lost and all this sort of stuff, it's establishment types. The establishment at the moment is using this GOP loss, with air quotes, to go through and try and kick the party back towards the establishment where they benefit. If they don't do that and we keep going down the Trump-backed route, they lose out completely of the GOP. And that's what they're petrified of. This is why you're seeing a lot of talk at the moment saying that we should follow DeSantis instead of Trump. Don't get me wrong, I love DeSantis. I think he's done an amazing job in Florida. But he's also endorsed by Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, and he also has some pretty interesting funding. Something that you could probably look at in your own spare time. But yeah, he is definitely backed by the establishment. I don't think he's the perfect response to them, but I think he's a stepping stone in the establishment back to sort of Mitch McConnell days. We don't want that. We want the Trump-backed endorsed populist movement. Because that's the one where everybody benefits. Under Trump, low-income earners were being lifted up and towards the middle class. The middle class was being lifted up. The average household income under Trump raised. Under the establishment, that doesn't happen. It goes the other way. That's why you're seeing at the moment a lot of this drug epidemic is affecting the low-income earners and the low-income housing. The reason is because it's payback. Because the establishment wants you in the gutter doing meth, because at the end of the day, if you're out and you've got your own job and you've got your own career and you've got your own money, you can't be controlled. That petrifies them. They want to be able to control you so that they can push their narratives and go through and bring in this utopia, which is going to end up being a nightmare for all of us. And that's why you're seeing these establishment figures. Ben Shapiro, for example. He's establishment. Don't get me wrong. Just because they got an R on their name doesn't mean they're there for the populist movement. Right? There's a reason why Ben Shapiro didn't back Trump in 2016. It's because of who he's funded by. He is funded by the establishment. Don't get me wrong. I love Ben Shapiro. He hits the woke crowd on the head sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But don't forget, he is still establishment. Just because he chucks up a few wins on the board doesn't mean we forget to ignore the backing or the funding or whoever's funding him. Okay? So, yeah, that's that. So at the end of the day, we have this propaganda that's been pushed by the establishment so that we need to turn away from Trump. We need to go towards a DeSantis future because that's the best. And it's the left and the establishment that's pushing this. If you ever want questions raised about DeSantis and his establishment ties, why is the establishment, including Fox News right now, why are they pushing DeSantis? Because it's in their best interest. Just because someone has a Fox in their name or a R on the ballot sheet doesn't mean they're there for your interests. I wish people would learn that, right? So, if it's not Trump or DeSantis to blame for the loss, the red wave, who is responsible? The same people that are trying to push you towards DeSantis. And I'll show you how. Lindsey Graham's abortion bill actually pushes the debate towards America's center. Months before an election, Lindsey Graham gets the bright idea to push an abortion ban. I know it's not really a ban, but you know what I mean. This is how the left sees it, right? And what happened? All the Democrats came out to vote. Where they would have been lethargic in the past because of Biden's crappy policies is ruining their life. Now they have a central voting topic that they all should get out and vote for. And that's to save their abortion or save their democracy. If Lindsey Graham hadn't tabled this, then at the end of the day, this would not have happened. The red wave would have happened, and it was partly Lindsey Graham's responsible regarding this abortion anyway, that actually caused the wave to turn into more of a ripple or a puddle. Not only him, Mitch McConnell. So Mitch McConnell has gone through, and his GOP super PAC cancels nearly $10 million in ads in battleground states. Arizona, for example. He cancels ads in Arizona, which is one of the battleground states right now that is struggling to go to GOP. Arizona. Why? Because Mitch McConnell cancels money going into that. And they reckon it's 10 million. I reckon it's actually more than that. But anyway, here. The Senate is cutting $8 million in ads from Arizona's state races in which the GOP candidate Blake Masters is hoping to unseat the incumbent Democrat senator. So, let's see how Blake Masters is going right now. Oh, look at that. He's losing. He might have lost with the money, but I tell you what, cutting someone's budget by $8 million sure is a great way to lose. Now, and unfortunately that's not going to go into a runoff because it's over 50%. So where else did they cancel money? Mark Kelly was supposed to begin after Labor Day, but now we're kicking early October. Let's see how Mark Kelly went. He won. Because his ads went early, because he saw the fact that Blake had lost some of his funding, So they doubled down and made sure they got a win. Including Georgia. All right, so Republicans need only net gains in the Senate to flip the upper chamber. In addition to Arizona, November's election will feature on some of the others, including Georgia, Nevada, Ohio, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. But Republicans are trailing in the polls, blah, blah, blah. Right. The Super PAC move to cancel advertisements is in part due to a $28 million investment in Ohio. How did they go in Ohio? Comfortably won it by 300,000. We're leaving the door wide open for Arizona, blah, 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 blah. And I imagine if you go through and check Vance, he's probably a GOP rhino. And that's the other thing we'll get to in a sec. Still not compliant Arizona, but the PAC initially invested $14 million in the Senate. Right, okay. $40 million reserve, so they were just underfunded by the PAC in Arizona. Who would have thought? The Mitch McConnell-backed organization also cut 2 weeks, or about $1.7 million in advertisement in Alaska. So they removed funding from Lisa Mowalski. Am I right? I'm getting that name wrong. Now, at the end of the day, this is actually important because there were two GOPs fighting back to back. And what he did was he removed funding from the GOP, from the Trumpian-backed, and actually gave it to the opposite, to the GOP-backed. Let me see. It was Alaska, right? So Alaska looks like it's going to go Republican, right? But Mike DeLevy, which is an independent Republican. But yeah. Charlie Price failed to pull out. Bill Walker failed to pull out. But they won that comfortably anyway. But yeah, he removed funding from the GOP Trumpian-backed client in Alaska, or candidate in Alaska, and gave it to the GOP Rhino-backed, which was ridiculous because it was two rhinos literally fighting it out. They would have won it anyway. So you got Mitch McConnell going through and playing funky dory with the funding. You got Lindsey Graham, who's also a rhino, bringing in an abortion ban to fire up the Democrat base. Here's why the Alaska GOP has had it with Mitch McConnell. It's a simple votes illustrated the Conservatives, Republican. The Alaska GOP censors Mitch McConnell for his support of the incumbent Lisa Murkowski, who has been a perpetual thorn in the side of the state of Republicans, of the Senate of Republicans. Murkowski is navigating her re-election bid through the state's new ranked choice voting system, which benefits her. The Alaskan Republicans was mulling not running for a fourth term. However, Republican base has changed, and the Trump ascendancy and the later for which she reports lows is so much she considered leaving the party. So the Republican candidate in Alaska wasn't going to run, but Mitch McConnell gives her money, from my understanding of this, gives her money and endorses her to run to go be a thorn in the side for the Trump-backed candidates. This is who we need to blame. Clean sweep. Democrat meddling in GOP primaries paid off in a big way in election day. All 6 of the Republican candidates who seemingly benefit from the meddling in their primary victories fell to the Democrat opponents. Those races including a number of key House and gubernatorial races, as well as a New Hampshire Senate race. Democrats spent more than $40 million boasting these 6 GOP candidates, from whom all expenses support from GOP candidates, all of whom expressed support from the Trump as the led Republican Party were backed by him. In New Hampshire, incumbent Democrat Senator Mandy Hansen easily defeated Republican and former Army General Don Bullock, who was the Democrat-aligned Senator Majority PAC candidate of choice to face when... So this is what we had going. We had the Democrats interfering in the primaries. We had the Republican rhinos interfering in the races with Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham. And now, after the election, you have this PSYOP propaganda term, or propaganda going around right now, where they're trying to encourage people to go more towards the establishment and leave the populist party. Leave the Trumps and the populist guys behind and go towards a more establishment type with DeSantis. And I presume once DeSantis is taken over the party for 4 years or 6 years or 8 years or whatever, and he'll probably do a good job. He'll probably declare war on some country within the first 6 months. And that's what it's going to be. Look, don't get me wrong. I like DeSantis. I really, really do. But I worry where his money's coming from. And that's the big thing. The big thing is that it's where the money is funding from. And this is where you get people like Ben Shapiro, another establishment, who's also pushing the narrative. And then you get independent creators who are just parroting what Ben Shapiro has to say. For example, and someone calls her out here, you and Ben Shapiro spout the same crap. So at the end of the day, no, the red wave didn't happen, sure, but it's still a win for the Republicans. Stop frowning. You won the House, and guess what? Now that you have the House, we're going to be able to hopefully go through and do independent inquiries as to where COVID started from, independent inquiries regarding the vaccine and the mandates and the side effects. Maybe an independent inquiry into Hunter Biden and the laptop and the dealings with Ukraine and Russia. They're going to be able to block funding for the Ukraine-Russia proxy war that America is sprouting. This is a good thing. This is the best thing that's come out of this election. So no, the Republicans didn't lose. There's a lot of copium that's going on right now by the Democrats. Oh my God, the Republicans lost. No, they didn't. You guys lost the House, and it looks like even by this, you're possibly even going to lose the Senate. So I don't know how that is a loss for the Republicans. 49 Republican, 48 Democrat, 207 Republican, 184 Democrats. They got beaten. We'll have to see how these go, but I'm suspecting you're probably going to get a 50-50 split, probably when it comes to the Senate, and then we're going to have the runoff in Georgia, again, because history likes repeating itself, and that hopefully will go 51-49 towards the Republicans. But even if it doesn't, even if they do lose Georgia, for example, Georgia? Yeah. Even if they do lose it, you still got the House. And the House is likely to be, I would say probably 222, 224, maybe 226. But it's likely to be around the 220s, early 220s. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Obviously, this video has been helpful. Please smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. I am uploading to here because I'm temporarily banned or suspended on YouTube. I will make a video about that because it is absolutely ridiculous. But guys, yeah, I'll talk about that in a sec. Probably tomorrow night. Apart from that, guys, have a great night. Enjoy yourself. And we'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great night.